Expedited Commission on Utilities. For the record, those present are myself, Commissioner Sanchez, and Commissioner Martinez. Commissioner Santos is online. He's going to try and keep up with us online. Commissioner Linchaco is not online, but I believe he's excused. Okay, John, the floor is yours.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay. I do have two resolutions today for your issues for decision by next week, Tuesday, and then one work session discussion for the board to consider that perhaps I'll bring it up in the April meeting.
Sure.
So the first item is Resolution 2024-17, and this is relative to approval of the Energy Conversion Agreement amendment for the Okudu power plant. I'll just go through the issue, the relative high-level discussion this, and then I go through the details explaining where are we in this. No? So again, this will all be an adjustment on the fixed capacity charge. So this is not something that we put cash out today. It'll be what we pay for over the next 25 years. No? So the first part is the cancellation of the reserve facility. The previous amendment, of course, we were trying to get the reserve facility, the 41 megawatt up in down at the Cabas Power Storage Tank facility. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the legislation done in time. The price validity date expired, and the price of the facility actually went from about 57 million to about 97 million. At that point, it was not anymore economically feasible for us to pursue the project, and of course, the CCU and PUC did approve to cancel that project, and of course, through an ECA amendment. No? Now, so the cancellation of the reserve facility is a $57.3 million reduction on the contract. Throughout this period, of course, again, and we've been through COVID, we've been through malware and everything, and there are many challenges that occur for not only ourselves but also for the construction of the plant, not only in terms of the EPC, but also KEPCO and this financing and everything like that. So as I would note, and in the record as shown here, GUP make claims for various reasons, including delays in the in the transfer of equipment up to the Okudu side, because if you recall, we've had the equipment here since September of 2022 and couldn't get through. So they made a claim of, and again, other things included the reserve facility, the legal costs, prep costs of the facility to prepare it for actual construction. So the total cost claim that Okudu came to us with was totaling about 21.8 million. We reviewed all of that and actually came out with a total of 8.366 million as what we will call justifiable changes to the contract. And those are actually shown here. One of those changes is about 1.8 million or so, which is providing a second source of cooling water to the Okudu site. As you recall, the cooling of the Okudu site will be, the generator's steam cycle will be through the wastewater treatment plant. But again, having one source of cooling, really we should have two sources in the event for some reason something happened where we cannot get that cooling source, and therefore we won't be able to produce energy from the from the Okudu plant. So we put in work with GWA and to put in for a pipeline to have a second source, which will come from the system if necessary. Although I don't anticipate that that will be the case, but again, for reliability purposes, that was part of this 8.3 million thing. 8.3 million claim, which we GPA have approved, subject to CCU and PUC approval. The next one is an acceleration of the schedule. As a result of Typhoon Mauer, Ukudu came back that really the best they can do was about January 15, 2026. We worked out, a lot of discussions occurred, and we came to a conclusion that an agreement, again subject to CCU and PUC approval, that the project can be accelerated from January 16, 2026 to September 15, 2025, a four-month earlier commissioning date. Now, so what I'll show you today that acceleration is very significant in terms of reliability and also cost savings in fuel for our consumers. No, that will mean that the Ukudu power plant will actually begin generating some power by February of 2025 as they go through the process of testing the units. That would mean that we will start reducing fuel costs as they start to test the units, because they're more efficient than the system as it is today. But I'm not even considering that. I will show you today that there is a huge saving just from the acceleration of that 4 month at a minimum, no? So, and again, new commercial operation date, September 15, 2025. And again, this is not cash that we put up power today. This will be an adjustment to the ECA as it goes. The resolution, as it states, but let me go through what the savings are. The savings from just an acceleration of this project is about 13 point something. Anyway, it's not as important as a thing, but $13.7 million. The way it works out, Mr. Chair, is if you look at this summary here, I think it was the one, is there the one before this? There. I tried to find an indicative period of time of consumption, no, for 1 year, so that we can make a really conservative estimate on this. We had malware con, which distorted the data for us so in fiscal year 2023, and prior to that we had COVID. So I took the period of June 2022 to May 2023, just before, right when malware struck. So if you look at the total cost of the system for 1 year, and this is from actual data, you're talking about us spending about $351 million in fuel at an average cost of about 21.2 cents per kilowatt hour. You go to and again, you are, everything, renewables, everything is considered. This is the total system fuel costs only, no? The next page is what happens when Ukudu comes on the line. Ukudu now will produce the bulk of the energy. PD 8 and 9 will produce so much energy for peaking time. And the reserves, of course, are started on and off. And renewables remain the same. Now, and again, this is based on $112 a barrel, which is what I showed you in the February landed cost for fuel, more current fuel prices. The Okudu power plant, the system production cost for fuel only will drop from the 21 cents to 13 cents a kilowatt hour. A huge drop. So again, when you look at that, the difference in fuel savings between now and Okudu coming on the line is about $125 million, just fuel reduction, right? That's an average of about 10.4 million a month. But we also have to begin paying Okudu, no? Which is about 69 million a year, right? For O&M and capacity fee. And that's about 5.7 per month. So therefore, your net monthly savings at $112 a barrel is about $4.6 million per month. You take that over 4 months, that's an $18 million fuel savings to the customers by the acceleration from January 15, 2026 to September 15, 2026. When you put the $5 million, which is the accelerated, what we agreed upon as additional cost that they could utilize so that they can double up the manpower, do overtime, do whatever's necessary, make the orders quicker to achieve this goal. That's $5 million that we agreed to. Initial request was $12 million, but we worked it out and agreed to $5 million. So therefore, the net savings really is 13 million, but 13 million for the 4-month period. We spent 5 million, we saved 13 million. The other thing is not really, but and again, not to complicate things, but really, what savings would the ratepayers see over those 4-month period? They will actually see an $18 million savings, because the fuel savings is a direct credit to the LEAC. The $5 million is going to be paid over 25 years. So it's really almost $200,000 a year. See what I mean? So therefore, that impact to the consumer is about $18 million of fuel savings for the 4 months that we accelerated this project. Next. As I look at this, of course, this is at $112 a barrel. If fuel jumped to $120 a barrel by next year, the savings, of course, go up, no? To not only 15 million, from 13 to 15, and so on. So giving you an indication as to what that looks. But certainly, it's a big plus for all of us. Next. So what does this mean in terms of the contract? The original contract is $571 million, no? You take away the 57 million, the 57.3, which is the reduction for the reserve facility. You add here's the 6 point, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I need to, let me get my sheet here where I can see this better. My apologies.
Hey, John,
oh, here we go.
The current slide is not in my board books. This slide, I don't have that one. You go to the previous slide. Go to the previous slide.
It might be
that one I have.
Okay.
Savings accelerated, blah blah. I have that one.
Okay.
But this current one that you're looking at, the next slide.
Okay.
I don't have that one.
All right. Sorry, apologies,
No
Mr. Chair.
problem.
We'll double check. No.
Huh?
This slide we don't have, right?
Yeah, this slide we don't have.
So therefore, again, I'll start over in this. My apologies. 571 million is the contract. No. 57.3 is the reduction for removal of the reserve facility portion. we had 6.559 for the changes of all the challenges that occur, permitting, all different things, no? We had the 1.807 for the backup supply that we asked for. It's like a change order to the system, no? To improve reliability. So the ECA total is 522 million. Then if you add the 5 million for the acceleration cost, which would net us 13 to 18 million dollars of savings, the new contract will be 527.07, which is 92.3% of the original contract. So really, the changes here is not increasing the cost of the contract, it actually has reduced the cost of the contract. Be it does it mean that we don't have the 41 megawatt
This is really page
machine,
6,
yeah,
guys. I just found out.
Yeah.
If you go to page 6, this is page 6. It's in our board books, John. It's just,
Yep.
it's out of, it's out of, you're presenting it in a certain way.
Yep.
But page 6 is,
It's in the,
it's in here. We, you know, just, okay. Okay.
okay, so,
Okay.
so that really is the process.
This-
I provided all the information, the letter from Okudu, our response to Okudu, and then the other things that are important here, Mr. Chair, is that the December 15 date. Of course, September 30 for 4 million, September 15, 5 million.
For the extra minute.
If they don't achieve those dates, we don't pay them anything.
Now, this is not an upfront payment, you said. This
No.
is, we're gonna pay it over time.
Over time.
But-
But we don't
but so-
also, the validity of the payment does not occur unless they meet the date. No?
Okay, so,
When you
so
see-
the contract, okay, go ahead.
No,
go
no, go,
ahead.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chair.
Go ahead.
No, I think you were going, go ahead, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair. I'm
No,
sorry.
I'll let you go.
I'm just trying to verify what, if they don't hit the dates, what aren't they paid?
Well, they aren't paid the $5 million. The
5 million
acceleration,
overtime.
yeah, it's paid over time, but if they don't meet the dates, they don't get paid the $5 million. No? In addition to that, the kicker is still there now. The kicker is that for every day that they are delayed beyond this date, whether we pay them or
Beyond
not,
September?
no, every day they do not beyond the September 30 date, if you will, is $240,000 a day. So therefore, this really cements the commissioning date. It gives them an incentive to
To get in at September
get
15.
it done, and if not, they don't meet the date,
Then
we don't pay them anything, although we will penalize them.
what if they meet the date on September 30th?
So we pay them $4 million.
4 million.
If they meet September 15,
It's 5.
it's $5 million.
If it's September 30th, it's 4 million. And if they don't make September 30th, every day after that,
$240,000 a day penalty.
penalty to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And no payment of the 4 to 5 million.
Until they,
So
until they're
really-
online.
So really, I think that in a way
Okay.
notes that
John, you know, this is a lot to take in, so I'm gonna study it a little bit
Yeah.
more. I'm sure Commissioner Sanchez will be poring over this, and come Tuesday night, you might have a lot more questions. But I have only one thing I'd like Steve to get information on, so that you're prepared on Tuesday. One concern I have. What you do is you show Okadu at 1,300,000,000 kilowatt hours. That's the annual, right? That's annual, what they're going to provide to the system. And you, down below, you say the monthly Okudu contract payment is 5,750,000. That's to provide the 1.3 billion
that's
kilowatt hour
per month.
per month, right?
That's your annual
Okay.
contract.
Okay, so for me, I'd like to know, you have PD8 and 9 in there. I'd like to know what the monthly PD8 and 9 payments will be. Just so we know. In other words, you're saying, we're gonna save, by running Okudu, we're gonna save on fuel. But if you're keeping 8 and 9, then you have the O&M costs, the capital costs, and whatever you have to do for O&M. It's not just fuel. So you're comparing fuel for Okadu and fuel for 8 and 9.
Everything else.
Everything else, I'd like to know what the O&M costs, what, you know, what the,
Yeah, this is only fuel costs.
no, I get it, but see, in this scenario, you include in your, I'm on page 8, by the way, page 8, I don't know what slide number it is, but I'm on page 8. Yeah, if you could go to page, see, on that bottom section, average cost, fuel cost variance, I get that, average monthly fuel cost for Okadu commissioning delay. Then it's the monthly Okadu contract payment. That's the O&M for Okadu, right?
Yep.
So I want to know what the O&M for PD 8 and 9 that we're keeping around,
Yeah.
okay?
That's O&M and CapEx, right?
O&M CapEx.
And
yeah.
CapEx, just
So,
on, you're paying for the plant.
right,
In the correct? In the 5.75, you're paying for the facility
Yeah.
Right.
and the operation of the facility.
Capacity fee and the fixed and variable fees.
That's in the
I get
5.7.
that.
In terms of the PD power plant, of course, there is a reduction in cost in PD power.
No, I just like
Yeah.
to see it, that's all.
That's
I mean,
all. Yep.
you know, you give us one, as a comparison, let's see what the other one is.
No, all you have here is deal. I don't give you any.
Sure you do, it's monthly Okadu contract payment,
I know because that's the change of the.
that's a change?
That's a change
Then
in
I
5
don't
months,
understand.
moving it up 5 months.
Yeah, that's a direct payment. To get the monthly savings, we have to begin paying.
Okay, wait.
That's all.
The acceleration cost is 5 million at the very bottom.
Yeah,
That's the payment you're gonna make if they come in on September 15th.
right.
If they come in on September 30th, that's 4 million. I get that part. What is 3 lines up? Let me see, 1, 2, 3 lines up, monthly Okadu contract payment.
Yeah, no, that's the capacity O&M for Okudu.
Yeah,
So
that's
the
what
only
I'm
the
saying.
difference in the variable in this analysis is just to show if you're gonna get the savings from Okudu, then you have to pay to use it,
No,
right?
I-
So what is the net savings to the ratepayer? Yep.
John, I understand all of that. All I'm saying is, I would like to see a line that shows you what
Okay.
PD 8 and 9 are, what's their monthly.
Yep, I can
O&M
bring that down for you.
Capital, okay?
I'll do
Just,
that. Yep.
it's another number that we can look at and as we're, you know, Commissioner Sanchez is much better at this than me. But at least,
I'm
but at
following
least,
you.
but at least he'll be looking at this and saying, okay, where do the numbers fall out, you know? So we know what it
So,
goes.
so let me explain one more thing here. No? It says in the bottom, does not include savings from Cabras retirement,
Yeah, no, I get
families,
that.
and all of that. So in other words, this is a extremely very conservative. You know, I just want
I
to.
get there are a lot of things.
I just
John,
want
if you
everyone
want
to know
include-
that-
No.
that
If you want to
the,
include the savings,
yeah.
you want to show the savings, I'm open to that.
Yeah.
You know, the more information you provide,
Yep.
the clearer the picture for me. I don't know about anybody else.
Yep. And again, so the waterfall name we didn't put in here,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
we're not ready for that yet. But just here in itself merits a decision. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Okay, so that in a nutshell, Mr. Sayers.
I think I get the gist of it. I'm going to have to really read it some more.
Yep.
I'm sure, Commissioner Sanchez, do you have any questions right now?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. So, John, basically, you've negotiated with Ukadu to come online 5 months early. 4 months early in September of 2025, right? Versus January of 2026, right? And you're showing, just by having them come online 4 months earlier, as we always expected, once Ukadu comes in, the biggest savings for ratepayers is on the fuel side, right? And you're showing us the net fuel savings, recognizing that if they come on 4 months earlier, you start paying them 4 months earlier, right? So I think I'm with the chair. I'll look at it, but I think I follow that. And I think from the ratepayer point of view, the positive news is we now have a more firm date. Actually, we have a very firm. What you're asking us to approve today gives us a firm date when the Ukadu plant would begin, which would now be September 2025 versus January 2026. And by getting that 4 month, getting that plant completed 4 months sooner, which the contractor KEPCO is saying they can meet it, right? There's the fuel savings begin to benefit the ratepayers 4 months earlier in September versus of 25 versus January 2026, and you've calculated what the fuel savings costs are. They're actually higher than 13.7 million, because if they finish 5 months earlier, you got to start paying them 5 months earlier. So you've netted that out from the fuel savings, right? Even though that's actually a base rate, when you look at it, that's actually a base rate expense. And even the chair, that's a good number to have. I think I like it too, because I'm with you trying to get the overall picture. But the CapEx part and the O&M part is in the base rate, right? And so this is just fuel savings. I mean, I anticipate, you haven't told us yet what, but the base rate may need to be looked at for the first time since 2013, when we start paying Ukudu on a now they're our primary supplier, we got to start paying. You need to show that. How do we pay that 69 million bucks? Will the base rate have to go up? But we also know if the base rate goes up because you're paying 69 million for CapEx and O&M, the fuel savings is much greater than the $69 million, and the net savings to the ratepayer, the LEAC will go down significantly. The base rate might go up a little bit, but the power bill, the overall power bill, because of the fuel savings from Ukudu, is going to drop. And you're showing us the kinds of numbers that are going to emerge. I mean, 13 when you take the combined cost per kilowatt hour of 13 cents a kilowatt hour. What's the LEAC now? 23? So, right, 26? All right, so that's almost half the LEAC once we put Ukudu online with the other pieces that we have. And that doesn't count the renewables that you're looking at now that won't come online for 2 or 3 years once you award it, right? There's going to be additional savings for ratepayers when we blend the future renewables with Ukudu coming online now 5 months earlier in September of 2025 versus January 2026. I'm like the chair, I want to make sure we're understanding what you're describing to us, so that we can also, we owe it to our ratepayers to make sure they know the progress, the improvement, right? That this resolution you're asking us to approve is going to trigger. You're asking us to approve this because you see that, I think the most important part for me and for the community is you now have a firm date with KEPCO and a penalty in case they're late, and you've analyzed the fuel savings, which actually is higher because you've netted out the fact that we got to start paying them 5 months earlier, right? So, but this is a great example of how, just in a 5-month period, the fuel savings are big enough to pay for the $5 million a month, the 69 million a year. The fuel savings are big enough to pay for that and still reduce the LEAC significantly, which will reduce the power bill significantly. And I think that's why we've always been so laser focused on getting Ukudu built and done. And you're now just updating us with the latest agreement that, with our approval, should we approve it Tuesday, will allow you to cement the agreement with KEPCO about Ukudu, earlier start date, and you're just identifying for us the savings that are going to be created by locking in that earlier start date. And as the chairman has pointed out, there's a penalty once they miss that September date, September 30th. There's a penalty clause for them being late, which I kind of like. In public-private partnerships, when you have the private partner saying, "I can make that date and penalize me if I'm late,"
give me a bonus if I make that date. We'll give you the bonus.
Don't give them that one, but at least you got your partner saying, "I'm willing to sign off on this. Are you willing to sign off on this?" That's the resolution that's before us.
And John, I appreciate you put a little note that it does not include savings from Cabrera's retirement. Actually, it would be good for us to show those savings, because those are the other things that will affect the base rate. In other words,
the savings on 8 and 9.
I can give you a preliminary idea, but I cannot give you. I don't think I can give you what that is yet. I think
you have time.
Wait, let me. Not to Tuesday.
Next year.
Not numbers that I.
Yeah, next year.
Remember, I'm just trying to get this passed, right? But But, and again, it doesn't include, but for example, right, the reduction of the retirement of Cabers 1 and 2, several $1 million a year.
Yeah.
The PD 8 and 9
Will
are
have
not
reduced costs.
operating at 80% versus only 10%.
That'll have reduced
That's
costs.
about another $1 million to $2 million operating costs, variable costs that we're going to have to pay per year. So remember the waterfall?
Yeah.
We're not able to give you all that, at least I give you an idea, but I can't.
You're not about to file a rate
It's not part
case.
of this decision, you know what I
Right,
mean? The
Well,
decision
yeah,
in
John,
itself,
I don't wanna
because
hold you
that's
to anything,
something
but
we are
I think
continue.
you can,
And again, let me, I'll just go into where am I heading? Because again, you are correct. We're trying to not increase the base rate, correct? That is still our objective.
So
But
objective, yeah.
even if the base rate had to increase, it's a small number compared to what has to do. So we continue to work to that. So I don't.
so John, I tell
We're
you,
not final on those numbers yet.
John, I
Right?
tell you what,
Yeah.
I know you can't give us all the numbers,
Yeah.
but that's why I'm asking for the 8 and 9 numbers only.
Sure.
Because the 8 and 9 numbers will show us something. That you can do by Tuesday.
Yes.
So show us the 8 and 9 numbers so we can say, okay, and anything else that goes, by the way, will be even bigger savings.
So that I can
You know,
give you an
okay,
idea.
so-
All I want the commission to understand is those are preliminary numbers that are in addition to the savings that you're seeing.
Yes, we get the fuel
That's
savings.
all.
Commissioner Sanchez and I.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Martinez.
So John, on that total there, that 13.7137, the consumer will start realizing that savings on September or December billing of 2025?
Probably the LEAC, it depends. The LEAC, actually, you're gonna adjust, if you adjust the LEAC in August, you get to take these projected savings into account. So it may be as early as August, because when he looks forward, what is the LEAC that has to be charged from August to February? He gets to factor in this $13.7 million fuel saving.
What Commissioner Sanchez and I mentioned is really not 13 million. It's 18 million.
Correct.
Because whatever's related to fuel goes
That's
back
the
to
18.
the consumer.
Yeah, but then we gotta start paying
The
5
5 million per month is gonna come from the base rate.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
John,
No,
I get
no.
that, and that's all good,
Yeah.
because, but, you know, we don't know where fuel's going. Fuel
Yeah.
goes up, that number kind of shrinks. Fuel goes down, we're even happier, because the savings is even greater.
It's that old saying that the cheapest barrel of oil is the barrel of oil you don't use.
Yeah.
The Ukadu burns less fuel, the renewables burn less fuel, and if you don't attack fuel, you're not gonna touch, the power bill will not be impacted.
Commissioner Sanchez has been very clear on this. The 3/4 of your power bill is the fuel.
Two-thirds,
Yeah, 2/3.
and the other one hasn't changed since 2013, and for the first time in, it'll be 12 years by next year, right, 2025. We may have to look at the first adjustment on the base rate in over 12 years,
Well, by
right?
that time, we'll have the other
But,
numbers.
we'll have the
But-
savings
but
to
at least-
reduce that, correct?
Yeah, but at least if you know the 8 and 9 number.
No, I'm with you.
You can get a picture of where the potential is.
Yeah, there's other savings that will emerge when Ukadu on
Yes.
the base rate side, which helps the base rate side, but the huge benefit is on the fuel side. And what then Maria's worry is, her only question is my power bill gonna go down when Ukadu is turned
bottom
on?
line.
And the bottom line is yes, the power bill is, look at that, 13.7 dollars per cents per kilowatt hour. The LEAC is 26 cents right now with old Cabris's running, old systems running, even with the savings from the Agreco contract, assuming we get that through, you know, that's gonna help. But Ukadu is the game changer in terms of reducing the cost of power to the community. And you now, if the resolution before us firms up a date with KEPCO, September 25, not January 2026. You've calculated at least the fuel savings, even net of paying them, right? There's actually more fuel savings. But I think the chairman's asking the same question I would be asking. There's other savings when you run PD 8 and 9 less, you run the reserves less. And in fairness to yourself, us, and the ratepayer, let's start to build that number. Because a year from now, you're going to be saying, well, the base rate may have to be adjusted X, whatever.
Actually, I have that number in my computer, but I just didn't feel like it. I'll get it to you Tuesday. Yeah.
Right. Well, if you want, I mean, I'm with the
No,
chair. It's good to
I
know,
I
but
can do that. It's just that again, we're still working towards.
John,
the-
so all I'm
you know,
saying
so,
is,
yeah.
as something we
I
can
just don't want
indicate.
to.
No, but it's something we can indicate, see, to our
Yeah.
ratepayer, that on 8 and 9, for example.
there's a savings.
There's a savings. And-
Even as a placeholder. I'm
Yeah,
with
it's
you,
a
Mr. Chair. Let's
placeholder.
just-
There's also
And,
savings.
you know, more to come.
And again, this number, if you notice, I know you noticed it. I used a period of time which is conservative. Right now, we're running PD 8 and 9 and TEMES because we need to.
Yeah,
Right?
no, we
So
get it.
the savings
You
is
don't have a
huge.
choice, and that's what I'm saying, you know, but at least you can show on just 8 and 9,
Right.
what's going to come, and then, you know.
Right. And the other important piece that I liked was, and this, Tracy, this relates to our discussion prior to the meeting, the renewables their blended cost of an older Dundun and a newer Mangilaw is 12 cents a kilowatt hour. The LEAC is 26 cents. So every kilowatt we get out of the solar farms displaces fuel, and the savings, even after you pay for it, right, is significant, which is why you put out another bid. I understand you've got quite an interest in private partners willing to provide power to us with more renewables. I'm guessing probably just solar. But that's all part of the continuation of reducing the amount of oil we use to create energy on Guam. And that's how you reduce the power bill. And the blending of Ukudu coming online and the continued use of renewables is going to significantly reduce the power bill as these new systems come online. And the biggest bang for the buck comes with Ukudu. And what you brought before us now is an amendment to the original agreement when they won the bid that says, hey, KEPCO saying they can deliver on September 30th? Is that what, Mr. Chairman?
4 million for September 30, 5 million for September 15.
Okay, and they agree that they'll be penalized
After September 30th.
after September 30th at $250,000 a day, I think that's the number. And they're willing to stipulate, to agree to that. And that's what you're asking us to approve on Tuesday, right? This whole piece.
And I'm sure Commissioner Sanchez will go through the numbers.
No,
Even better.
you get it. I get it with you, Mr. Chairman. I see exactly what you're saying.
And
This is the numbers.
Price after all of this goes down from 571 to 527.
Okay.
Oh, one other question, Mr. Chair. So, unfortunately, we couldn't get, we had the challenge with the legislature not allowing us to put the 41 megawatts of reserve. That was in the original proposal from Ukudu. So part of the savings is we've canceled that. But so from a capacity point of view, we've lost 41 there, right? How do we compensate for that loss of capacity with the new Ukudu agreement and any future things we're going to look into? Because obviously capacity is important to us.
Compensate by seeing you're going to have to keep more of the reserves that originally you're thinking to
Keep them
retire.
longer, okay.
Secondly, with putting in more and more shifting energy
Batteries.
storage batteries, it actually provides you an opportunity to retire more conventional.
Okay.
You have to come to a balance of, you cannot just say, oh, batteries will dump all conventional. The reality
blend.
is you have to have a balance for rainy days versus non-rainy days, no? And so that's what we're working. So that's how and that's why part of my, again, it's not hesitation, it's just more trying to give an idea that we still have a work in progress to determine what we may retire, what we may not retire, based on sequence of events over the next several months to a
John,
year.
I get it, because you
Yeah.
are eventually going to have to maintain the Okudu plant, and when you do the maintenance,
Yeah.
you're not going to have that power, so you have to
That's
have something. I
Every-
get that, but,
Yeah.
you know, as you go forward, this is all new. So we have solar, now we're looking at batteries for backup, and charging batteries even during the day, because if you put in we have what, 86 megawatts of solar power right now, right, during the day. And if, from what I looked at I believe I heard you've got like about 300 megawatts being offered, different sizes, some big, some
About
small.
330 megawatts on the table
Yeah.
being evaluated right now.
Right. And so therefore, you know, as you put in batteries and as the technology improves, that may be your source of your reserves at some point.
Yeah.
But, you
I
know,
agree.
you know, one of the things here I think that's important is this is something that we can plan. Listen, the 2008 IRP, the goals were, the number one thing was renew generation. That was the number one thing ever. Then, you know, develop a policy on alternate fuels, okay? And the third thing was renewable energy. And so we're putting in all these pieces. We want our ratepayers to know that as we go forward with newer technology coming on, we may further reduce their bills.
Yeah.
You know, and to tell them that this is not the final picture. This is a journey. You know, and one, I always say this, I really like Dwight Eisenhower because that was our general in World War II, Spring Commander, became the president. And this saying was, he doesn't care about plans. He says the planning process is important because you're always planning. You never stop planning, GWA never stops planning, we're always planning.
So
Go ahead.
the
Mr.
key
Sanchez.
here is just, just like to add one more.
Sure.
I'm try not to be too detailed, but our mission here is to make power affordable on a sustained basis, right? And so therefore, how do we sustain it? By not importing more oil. Dropping our oil imports by perhaps 2028 by 1 million barrels a year. Secondly, renewables are our future hits, no? 1% escalator, so therefore we're converting 1 million barrels of oil that is going like this with the equivalent of renewable energy going like this, so therefore our price now becomes sustainable. So as I look at this, the 31 plus cents that we went through with the LIA, and I think it worked out is such a 20 cents with the Okudo power plant and all this stuff.
Yeah. And you remember, the 31 was because we didn't pass on, during COVID, we didn't pass on some fuel costs. So that really was an artificial, there was an artificial savings we created during COVID and an artificial cost recovery that resulted from us not passing on costs. But Tracy and your team, I think the chair is alluding to a story we need to be telling our ratepayers. And what popped in my head is how GPA is going to lower your power bill, right? And begin to tell these, because the pieces are coming into place. Ukudu is under construction. In fact, I see in your update, the infamous tanks, please no storm in the next week or two, but the infamous tanks that got destroyed are close.
4 levels.
Yeah, but they're almost there, right? So that gets completed. And again, if those tanks hadn't gone down from Marwar, all of these savings would have been moved up, right? But Marwar was Marwar, right? And we're dealing with it. But the chairman is describing a picture that is going to reduce the power bills for our ratepayers while still providing reliable energy on a sustainable basis, right? And the avoidance of every barrel we can avoid burning is being replaced by solar energy that is at 11 cents, 12 cents a kilowatt hour, that 20 years from now will be 13, 14 cents a kilowatt hour. But it doesn't do this. It doesn't have the wide fluctuation. Gas stations just went up. Right? I haven't gassed my car yet, but right? So, so everyone knows that oil is fickle that way. We are mitigating the fickleness by going to renewable energy that is far more of a fixed cost with very slow escalators, and to a generator at Ukudu that burns significantly less oil, and that's how you lower the power bill. So, Tracy, have your team start building that educational piece for our ratepayers, so that they can see where we're going. But this resolution. You're describing what happens if we approve the resolution on Tuesday to amend the prior contract with Ukudu to basically reflect what's happened in the last 2 years, or at least since Marwar, about new start date, new commissioning date, which now is moved up and is more firm. Because I know when we talk about it to the community, well, they're going to be online sort of when. Well, now what we're approving now is not sort of when. It's September 2025, and they will be penalized if they're late. Right? But when they turn it on, the people of Guam are going to benefit significantly. So
That's
we
only,
can vote now,
that's only,
but we won't.
that's only next year.
Everybody to
No, everyone. Tuesday. But that's what you're describing. I think this shortens Tuesday, right? Because between your
That's the
questions and
whole
my
idea.
questions. Yep. That's,
No idea if I-
May not be soon enough, but when you think about it, it's only.
well, it's as soon as you can make it. I mean,
Okay.
we're not in
So,
charge of the whole planet.
So, the other resolution?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next
Unless you have
resolution
questions,
is,
any more questions?
any more?
Okay.
FY 2024-19, and it's actually a joint
Joint resolution,
resolution
right? Okay.
with GWA resolution number 16-FY 2024. And again, this is to really establish the creation of positions of an information security superintendent, infrastructure support supervisor, and an application support supervisor position for both within power and water. This is all related again to our IT group, which is of course working on, as we all know, cybersecurity has been come to the forefront, not only because of hacking from certainly, but also from the national threat of North Korea, China, and all these different things. So again, these positions are already established. We have a very strong team on board, but they need help. And so the first step is establishing this, then going out to the market, trying to identify and bring in, be competitive and bring in the personnel that we need to ensure that we maintain the security of our system. So again, this have all been posted on the web as preferred, and the
Once we adopt it on Tuesday.
pay ranges are all set. Once you
Yeah.
adopt it on Tuesday,
problem.
then we will proceed to.
No, I think the commission, John, both for GPA and GWA, were very supportive of IT-related projects. We want even greater, John, I think you've heard us talk about, you need to improve physical security of this building. Physical security at all our sites need to be improved. And so, no, you get no argument from me. The one thing sometimes Guam being small is a weakness. Sometimes it's a strength. To me, it's a strength. I think it's a strength for both GP and GWA because you're not as interconnected. In the States, the water systems, for example, you have people that just do nothing but produce water. And then you have people that take the water and distribute the water. But there's a lot of communication going back and forth in that process. Here in Guam, it's all vertical. There's nobody else involved. GPA, you're all involved. GWA, they're the only ones involved. There's not a lot of communication going on. Not a lot of ways to get in. But we also need to improve physical security. I always talk about that.
They are going through the process for that.
Huh?
They are going through the process for the model for the physical security, and after that, then we will come to you to bid out the.
Sure.
the
Both you and
we're getting close to
GWA,
that, Mr.
both
Chair.
of you guys have to improve our physical security. Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner Sanchez.
I apologize, colleagues. This ECA, I want to go back to Ukudu. This ECA agreement that we're going to consider Tuesday, does that amend the contract between us?
Yes.
Okay. And I understand now so the contract we've submitted to the Attorney General's office, which then was returned to us to include more things, right? Which is sort of the idea, right? At least give us feedback. How does that mesh? We'll have, if we approve that amendment on Tuesday, you're going to have to, Council, you're going to have to put words into the agreement, and then Is that the final, and then does the AG wait for those, our Tuesday approval to see the new language in the contract? And then they approve the amended contract? How does that all work? Because right now, he's reviewing a contract that doesn't include what we're gonna do Tuesday, correct?
So we would send the one that has it, and then we get this opinion. You guys,
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes sense that we, you know, without our okay, you have nothing to amend, right? But you've already submitted the contract, they've already said, and correct me if I'm wrong, in fact, I kind of want to report on it, if not now, on Tuesday. What I saw was boilerplate clauses that, for whatever reason, weren't in our agreement that, or, you know, unless you disagree, but that's between you and the AG's office. The AG at least turned it around in 5 days, which proved that you can actually approve a contract and review it in 5 days, right? But if we make this amendment on Tuesday, you're gonna have to send the amended contract back to the AG, correct?
And to the PUC.
Right? To everybody, right? So, but I'm sorry, this is an amendment to the Ukudu contract, not to the Agreco.
Yeah,
So,
this is,
Agreco is just waiting for the boilerplate language. Was there a reason the boilerplate wasn't in there to begin with? Because I'm thinking about all the other contracts. Okay. Okay, but on that Agreco contract, no issues with us in terms of putting in the needed boilerplate that the AG asked about, or? Oh, you've already provided them the amended language? Oh, perfect, okay. So on the Agreco contract, and again, if you want to wait till Tuesday, but update us on Tuesday on the status of the Agreco contract, and making, you know, we want to make sure that, you know, the good news is, it was sent in, it was turned around in 5 days. That proves it's humanly possible for the Attorney General's office to manage resources and turn around agreements. We've asked GWA to provide us a list on Tuesday of all procurements that are outstanding, that have been sent in, that still have not been, or any contract approvals required by required of the AG's office as to form, not to content, but as to form. Can you also Tuesday provide us a list? Are there outstanding procurements that still await?
There are some, Commissioner, and we are working on that already, because we
Good.
spoke with GWA, so.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll see that.
Give us an update.
An
Yes,
update,
yes,
right?
sir.
And then we've got 2 important contracts now. What we approve on Tuesday we'll have to go through that protocol with the AG, and you're awaiting the Agreco, finalizing the Agreco approvals with the Attorney General's office and responding to his list, right?
I think we'll look at that, but this is already an existing contract within
Oh, yeah, but to amend it, you have to go back.
Sure, and amend it.
well, I'm not sure, but we'll double check.
Okay,
I'm not-
well, you're gonna do your legal things. Do the right legal things, that's all we're saying.
Well,
There is one more thing though, Marianne, I think you should be ready by now. Could you put into, down in writing, your legal opinion regarding the energy credit issue? You know how we have some rooftop solar people who are saying, I'm accumulating all these credits because, you know, I got a $15 bill and that's it. So $15 from $100, I'm accumulating the other $85. And I think we asked you to research that and to tell us, what can we do? Can we refund it to them? Can we not refund it to them? Why? And that way we can put that on, and we have an opinion in writing. Okay? Can you do that by Tuesday?
I was provided additional information by the finance
Okay.
division,
So,
but that was something that I wanted to work in there.
yeah, can just Tuesday workable? Can we have it by Tuesday?
I will try, yes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you, that would be good, because, you know, people, and, you know, I even came across a customer of ours. We have some customers out there who are very frugal, and this one customer says, her bill's usually just $75 a month, and so she's accumulating $25 credits every month, and she's saying, I told her, I said, turn on the air conditioner.
or just be patient, because GovGuam, this is probably the last of the credits. I mean,
No,
GovGuam
I
isn't going to
understand
be.
that, but what I'm
You'll
saying
get
is-
it back sooner or later.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you know, hey, now you can turn on the air con. Gee, $75 power, I was
So
flabbergasted.
there's 3 parts to the process. We're not over the hum yet with the temporary power.
Right.
First, it comes from the changes, then the other party has to agree to the changes. The other party don't agree to the changes, then you know, that's,
No,
so
no,
that's
John, we get
kind of
it.
where we are in that
Okay.
one. No?
Just give us an update.
Just so that,
But a Greco should be used to this. It's not the first time they've contracted
I'm
with us.
just saying that they have to agree
True-
to it.
true.
Then otherwise, we don't have a
Right,
contract.
but it's all boilerplate at this point. At least the only thing the Attorney General, correct me if I'm wrong, pointed out was what I would call boilerplate language. Has nothing to do with pricing or anything like that, just boilerplate language that they recommend must be in this new agreement with Agreco. And Agreco has contracted with us before, so I assume those prior contracts had those same boilerplate agreements, or at least, let me put it this way, those prior contracts were approved by the Attorney General's office, whoever the Attorney General was at the time we first contracted with Agreco years ago, right?
Well, again, we're in the process. No? I'm just saying,
Okay.
Yep,
this is
yep,
the
yep.
steps. And
Yeah, I just want to make
I
sure
don't
we're
wanna
following the
be-
steps.
I'm cautiously,
Optimistic?
I am nervous
Or
about
not
this
optimistic?
contract
You can be
and everything
cautiously
because it's
very-
urgently needed, and so therefore, will work to try and get the other party to ensure that any changes they would accept. But again,
Yep.
it's not, you know, I mean, so that's all
Okay,
I'm saying.
okay. Do you have anything else to tell us, John, right now? That you need to tell
See,
us, or?
that's all in the resolutions. All
Okay.
Anything else to tell us? There's a
Just
lot in
this-
the
just-
GM report, Mr. Chair. You might want to look at it first and then.
Well, I was gonna say, if it's loaded on board books, we
Yeah.
have some reading to do.
Yep, you
No,
do.
And we'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Do-
How's that?
Yeah, but we need, wanted to do
Which
the
one?
issues for discussion, the CTP.
Yeah, that's the
Oh, no,
last one.
market
no,
changes.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing in your GM report's going to surprise us, right? It's just an update right, from the last month, right?
No, I think a lot of good news.
Okay.
Nothing that will,
So as we did last month with GWA, they submitted their proposal, and we took it, and, you know, we'll be chewing it over. This, commissioners, will come up as an issue for decision in April's meeting. So
Ah,
both
okay.
GPA and GWA at that time.
The CT, the
This is
market
just-
transition, okay.
This is just, you know, go ahead.
so again, I'll go through this.
Sure.
The team did a lot of work to, again, 2006, we established the CTP program, and then in 2007, we were below the 5%. So the commission, the goal is to eventually get to the 50%, which is
It's a policy.
the policy, which is the competitive market range, no?
Yeah.
In 2017, we got to the 10% market percentile of the 2017 market. We moved in 2018 to 15%, 2019 to 20%, and in 2023 to 25% of the 2017 market. A lot has happened in those period of time, so as we redid the market survey was redone. Lord behold, we find ourselves being only in the 5% out. So we really, with the process that we've been moving forward, we really have not achieved our goal since 2006. No? If you look at the 2017,
John, could I just stop you for a minute?
Sure.
Because I think, you know, that's, commissioners, as we go forward, that's a policy thing we need to clarify. In other words, when we get to the 50 percentile, then what we should be doing is every year adjusting to remain at the 50th percentile. So every year, there's a markets survey, and whatever that delta is, we adjust so that we stay current, so we don't go back. That's one of the things I think that we're trying to achieve with both GPA and GWA, is once we get to the 50th percentile, then every year is just an adjustment to stay. We do the market survey, which is not that hard, I believe. So you do the market survey, and then whatever that delta is, then you make the movement. So the movements are very small at that point, you know? We don't have, and that's the whole point. You don't want to have this huge movements every once in a while. So, and I'm just reminding the commissioners that for the GWA, I don't know if you were here, Simon, for when we got the GWA report, but GWA's got a number of about $7 million to transition over 5 years.
Yeah,
And
they,
then-
they
and
fell
then-
further behind as
Yeah.
the market
Right.
increased, the average market wage increased much faster
Yeah.
than our ability to keep up with it, right?
Yeah.
And as you're saying, we need
We need
to
to
keep it up
clarify policy.
by doing the surveys more
Right,
frequently.
right.
And I think, I think that's gonna be the challenge. I noticed in here you guys are saying 2 years, which,
Yeah.
whether it's
If I
annual
go-
or
if I-
2 years.
Let me go through the whole presentation,
okay,
because
okay. Go ahead.
we have a plan on how to achieve
Yeah,
this,
no,
no?
no, no.
And
That's
stuff, so again, if you look at the 2017 regression, that's where we were thinking we were, based on the market using 2017. You look at the 2023 regression in the next space, as you can see, most of the people are below or right around the 5 percentile. No real gain to what we were thinking to the 25 percentile. So again, the next page, again, the assessment or competitive market position has really eroded, actually significantly eroded. And again, if we go several years ago or a few years ago, I said 50 to 60% of the workforce are eligible for retirement in GPA. Right now, we revised that number is 30 to 40%. So quite a few already has retired or
yeah.
various reasons and stuff. But again, what we're saying is that the structural migration, like what you're saying, Mr. Chair, every 4 to 6 years is not sufficient to get to that goal. No? And again, I won't go through everything here, but also the other
We're
things
gonna read
that are coming into the play is not only the government of Guam had the DB plan. The DB plan helped people to finish their career here. The DB plan went away, and therefore we're not as competitive in the retirement plans anymore. Therefore, we're really put in a worse position to retain professionals.
That's why we came up with this whole concept.
Came out with the CTP. Now we have to adjust the CT program because we're not only being behind on the market number, but we're also behind on the benefits. When others can give COLA, so and so, we have to adjust ourselves. No? If you look at the next page, Mr. Chair, 88 employees are eligible for retirement in 2024. And then it starts to lower down to 18 in 2025, 12 in 2026. So we're getting now towards the end of the real harm of but again, that's a huge drain. And so we have been training, in furnace programs, hiring engineering professionals, and actually there are a lot of young engineers now being trained within GPA. But again, we have to make sure that after all of this training that we've done, we hope, because there's nobody else to do this, and everything beyond that will be a huge, you'll be behind the curve. We're trying to stay ahead of the curve in this scenario, right? Where are they? In the next page, you see about 46 or more than half of that is in operations, no? Engineering, and the next one is engineering and other services, no? So key areas of the agency. You go to the next page, and that gives you an idea of over from fiscal year 2019 to 24. 97 retirees. We lost it. Just look at federal contractor relocation of island and private sector. That's already about, let me see, 13, 21, 20, about 30 personnel already significantly. And those are various reasons that could impact that. No? The next page, what's been happening with us? We've been through technology improvements, through really working harder, through having our team understanding that really, when we work into the CTP program, we said we will work on the compensation program, but we also have to give value to the customer. So to me, all of that combination has been giving value to the customer, and this kind of gives you an idea. If you look, even as for of course, back in the 90s, we had as much as 678 employees, no? Here in the 2005 to the third, we were at around the 530 employees, no? You look today, we're running at a 412, 4.8, and more recently we just added the apprentice that graduate into full-time employees, so we're at 427. So again, huge drop in the labor. No? So the next page.
Just a point of note, you know, FY '94, that's when Commissioner Sanchez and I both left the PUC.
I retired in
Before
93.
just an editorial.
Yeah, and it's a good point. The other thing is, you know, like my good friends in the chamber, public-private partnership, public-private. So we do public-private partnership.
champion
So,
public-private.
and this is an example of, you know, they
How it
said
works.
there would be savings, and as the chairman's pointed out, and you pointed out, we went from 678 people down to 427 people. That's almost a 40% reduction in people. Some of them now work in the private sector, which is good. They still have a job. They provide energy. We just buy kilowatt hours from them, right? But even since the CCU took over at 589, we're down to 427. You know, that's about a 30% reduction. And because we did use public-private partnership, and our team worked very hard to become more efficient, do more work with fewer people. And the beneficiary has been the ratepayers. When you look at the fact that the number of people working for us has gone down, one reason the base rate hasn't changed since 2013 is exactly because we have fewer people on payroll at GPA. And then, of course, the refinancings. But those are the kinds of things that GPA management, the team at GPA, on the finance side, on the admin side, on the ops side, have been able, and the employees themselves, have been able to produce outcomes, produce results, and do more work with less, right, and fewer people. And that's to the credit of the employees and the management of the Guam Power Authority, that you can downsize wisely, and you can do it over time, and you can use public-private partnerships to successfully use private sector capital. $1 billion in Manilao and Ukudu advanced by a private company, not by the ratepayers. Is Manilao's benefiting us now at 10, 11 cents a kilowatt hour, and Ukudu, you just showed what Ukudu is going to do for us. But that money is being fronted by the private sector. They're employing private citizens. GPA is not employing them, and all those savings are accumulating to the benefit of the ratepayer. And it's really quite an achievement for this team in the last 20 years, and to the CCU of saying, look,
It
this
validates the concept of the CCU.
yeah, that having an elected CCU has actually produced very tangible reductions in costs and tangible benefits.
For the ratepayer.
And with the work we're doing now with renewables and Ukudu, more savings are on the way. And that's really a credit to all of you. And I wanted to make sure that we recognize all of that hard work over time. And it takes time. Boats don't turn in a second, and we're a big boat. And so you have to turn it, but you have to turn it steadily so that nobody falls off the boat because you turn too fast, right? So, very good.
So, thank you. Mrs. On the next page, of course, gives you an idea of our historical labor costing and projection. And I'm not sure everyone, the community at large, really realizes that our labor percentage in terms of our overall is only runs in the range of 8 to 11%. Only 8 to 11% of
Total bill or of the base rate?
of the total
Yeah.
bill. No?
Yeah, it's not payroll. It's oil. Always has been, always will be.
No, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that
Yeah.
it
It's a
takes
small number.
always 10% to really
To run the
manage
place.
everything that is reduce fuel costs and so on. So it's a very small part of the thing, and it
And
shows
it's gone down. When you look, the number of people
So
have gone down.
what you see in there is, and again, we'll show you the numbers of what it is to migrate to the 50%. So we projected it out to 2028. So you go at worst, probably, and again, this is even with Ukudu reduction in fuel costs, to 14% of the total. No?
Okay.
On the next page, how do we fund some of these things? No? If you look really every year, we have our budget, and our O&Ms that we've been constantly coming in below our budgets, no? The highest, of course, was 2023, and that's because that was Typhoon Mauer, and so we had a lot of labor expenses and other expenses associated with Mauer, no? But that's the odd end. But you can see we usually come in around 8% or more in terms of our budget versus our actual expenditures, correct?
Well,
So-
bad budgeting.
Huh?
That's bad budgeting.
No, not really. That's how we maintain the rate.
Tell the
right?
budgeter to lower the number now,
We
so
don't-
that,
No, wait. Again, I'm trying to show our
I'm
point.
teasing you,
It's
John.
not. Yeah, I know you're teasing. Okay, thank you for teasing. But so again, what I'm trying to say is that we, you know, it's another case where we're not looking to impact our rates on this. What it does say is that if you look at the next page, what our goal is, no? Our goal is really, and again, we'll ask the CCU for your blessing, is really to move to the 30 percentile of the 22 market in FY 2024. And from there on, progress 5 percentile annually through 2028. We conduct market studies every 2 years, if you will, or minimum at that. Of course, continue the pay for performance. And again, there are other things that we can look at on how do we recruit and retain maybe critical positions like IT, engineering, or other areas that we find that are significant areas to do. So if you look again in for the next page gives you the regression for 2023. As you can see, most of them are at the 5 percentile. So what does it look like in terms of number of employees that are impacted by this move, no? So there, in this, the next page, I'm sorry. Oh no, that's the same page. About 396 will be affected by the movement to the 30. 414, as you go higher, of course, the number starts to go up. So therefore, basically all our employees will get affected as we get to the 50 percentile. So again, the next phase is the 5-year plan, laying it out and laying out a schedule, what to do, when to make a market assessment. Following page gives you the numbers, no? And I guess like you had mentioned earlier, 7 million. We're talking, yes.
You're about it.
Our migration will be about 7 million over the time. If you look, is funding available? FY 2024, yes. FY 2025, yes. We do have to, adjust, make a transfer from the non-O&M to the O&M, but the budget is, like we mentioned, usually $4-6 million less, and the transitions are small. And then we will look at budget in the FY 2026 to 2028, all in the interest of making sure we don't impact the rates for customers. So again,
This is a good number.
Just
And,
yeah.
to me,
Yep.
John, I think if we adopt what is being proposed for you and GWA, then we leave it up to the general manager. This is an operational thing. You fund it, you do the budget, you make sure it gets done. You're talking about maybe every 2 fiscal years, then making the jump to the 50th of the latest one. I brought up annually, but if you want to do it biannually, it's up to you guys. But that way we don't fall behind again. We want to keep our people moving. We want them to know where we're going, it's this was a good thing that happened before I came along, thank God. And now what we need to do is put the final touches on it so that when we move our people up, we're not finding out 5 years later, man, we're back at 5% now. You know, let's get to the 50% now, and if you want it every year or every 2 years, you and Miguel talk about it. Present us with a policy that we can say, oh, every 2 years we adjust to that 50th percentile, latest market. The numbers are not going to be big. The number will be small. Once we get there, the number's small, and you know listen, look at the FY27 and FY28. If you go to the number where you get the 7 million.
Page 4.
Okay, look between 27 and 28. It's $1 million. It's $1.3 million. You're moving. You know, your cost is going to be $1.3 million.
So much inflation.
Yeah, you know, $1.3 million. John, your labor is. And I'm just guessing. I'm not your CFO, but I'm guessing your labor is around $50 million a year, right? Am I close to the number?
Yeah.
Okay, so 50 million, and if you're bumping it $1 million every year, what the heck? You know, I mean, it's a good thing. I really want to accomplish this because this will complete what was started when we first came up with this whole CTP idea, when we came up with the 50 percentile. You know, this will complete it. We give it to you and we say, good, we get there. And then every year the bump up is little, you know, and let's keep it at that so that we don't have to come back 10 years later and say, hey, we got to have a 22% increase. We don't have to do that, you know. So anyway, more reading to do. You have questions?
Yeah, just a quick, go back 2 slides. Because I think the chair's made a very important point. Keep going. I want the one that had the budget, right? I teased John about bad budgeting. Okay. Oh, no, that was it. Go back. Nope, you went too far.
That one.
No, the next one. The bad budget there. Okay. So, oh no, you went too far. I mean, the chairman makes a good point. Right now it's about $1 million and a half a year to do this migration. But if you go back to the good budgeting and reporting under budget, it's 1 or 2 slides before that. If you can. When you get there, you're going to see that because the team is able to keep O&M, which includes labor, under budget, right? Okay. You see those fiscal years where the good budgeting and the great operations created savings?
Right.
You add up that difference, that's $7 million a year on average. The wage adjustment that you're proposing is only $1 million and a half. So again, the team at GPA and very similarly at GWA is going to be able to pay for the wage migration from all the other savings that is historically already we've already created these savings. That's why the base rate hasn't moved since 2013, is these kinds of savings on labor and O&M. So we've averaged $7 million a year in savings for since 2018. Now this wage migration, okay, it might take $1 million and a half over the next 5 years a year, but you're saving $7 million a year on the other side, right? So we can afford the migration on the wage side because of the savings being created on the O&M side, all right? And that's how it works. You as management are finding ways to pay for needed expenses by creating, just what the chairman said, just by creating savings in other areas. And that's a credit to you and the team. So I'm glad we're doing a more formal approach. If you guys want to, I'm with the chair. You guys tell us, 1 year or 2 year, but do it regularly so we can migrate, we can stay up with the migration, because, you know, it's not like the rest of the world's not raising wages either, right? So, you know, when they move, in order to keep them here, as opposed to having them move to Anaheim or the federal government, we have to stay competitive, right? But having said that, the earlier data show we went from 680 people to 420 people. We've dropped labor almost by a third. Less fewer people working at GPA, while we still produce, you know, the generation, put in the renewables.
So we let you do your management thing, and you know, there's really 2 things I want to make sure. This whole concept was brought up so we could attract, retain, and build succession for our labor force, okay? That's the whole purpose for this. And I want to fulfill that policy. That was the policy call made. I wasn't on the board at the time. Commissioner Sanchez was the chairman. That was the policy call. It was a good policy call. But we were new at the policy call, so we didn't quite have the thing going the right way. Now we're going to leave it up to you guys, you and Miguel. And that will be the policy call. It'll address the attraction of, you know, the retention and the succession planning for as you build these teams, and it will address retirement. Okay, and that's what you need, because you need that as you go forward. You know, GPA is not going anywhere. Guam Waterworks, they're the two essential critical for the whole island. No power, no water, no life. So, you know, so we'll bring this up in April. You and Miguel will work on your things, get it to us in April. I think, I like everything I'm seeing from both sides.
Good.
Okay?
That's all I have, Mr. Chair, unless you want me to go
No,
to the GM
John,
report
don't
tonight.
stop talking.
I'll
You
answer
always
any
scare me when
questions,
it says
and
5 more minutes.
we will address the questions that you had for by Tuesday.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you
Anything
very
else,
much.
Commissioners? Motion to adjourn? Move. Second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, I.
Good job, John.